actually this video was inspired by Butterfly 9274. So she requested for us to do a video how we transitioned from Canada to Zambia.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah.
Let's get into the video. We are actually excited to see this, to do this video, because we just have so many good stories to tell. Has life been perfect? Maybe not. But was life perfect in Canada? No, it wasn't. So we decided that we are gonna move to Zambia, to Africa, because that's where I'm originally from.
We got married, and she
Yeah.
came over to live in Canada, and I had my dental practice, and I was living in an apartment. And so for maybe the first year, we lived together in an apartment.
In an apartment,
And
yeah.
A pretty nice apartment, high-rise
Yeah.
apartment in Winnipeg, next to the river. And then we got a house, and it was a pretty nice house. We were in I guess a sort of a decent suburb, like a decent neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we had really conventional kind of middle-class lifestyle.
Yeah.
But we wanted, at some point, we were talking about Zambia, and we thought, in the future, we'll have our house here, and we'll get some land, and we'll build some rental properties, and maybe we'll hop back and forth 6 months here and 6 months there. But we were thinking about doing that, like 15, 20 years in the future when I'm retired. And then,
Yeah,
One
and of
time.
course the family grew.
Couple
Now
of
now we have 5 kids, and so if you know anything about air travel, it's expensive.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and then the distance from Zambia to Canada is
long.
very, very long. And so anyways, we prepared ourselves when we were coming to Zambia. But how did we prepare ourselves? So there's a few things that we are going to talk about. And so the first one is load shedding. We heard about the load shedding before we even moved to Zambia. And so to really deal with that, we invested in a gas stove, and that has worked so well, because even when we don't have electricity and things like that, we are able to cook for the family, and so that has really, really helped us. And we invested in a generator and a power backup, and so it hasn't been really a struggle. It hasn't been really hard to kind of settle in kind of thing.
When we first moved here,
Yeah.
we came over and we were renting because we had gotten some property and we started building, but we didn't really have anywhere to live yet. So for maybe even,
Yeah.
what, 2 years, I think we rented.
Yeah. And here is the thing, what I want to mention to you guys. There's maybe some things that we could have done differently if we knew what we know now.
Yeah.
But again, it's
always like that.
yeah, it's always like that. The only person that can do a good job about what your plan and everything, the only person that can do that is you. So when we bought, we bought property, I would travel back and forth from Canada to Zambia. Then we invested into properties and stuff like that. And then when we decided to start building, we were sending money. And of course, people are not going to do the things accordingly. And so there's some money was channeled to their personal whatever, but anyways, that's a side thing. That's not what I'm here to talk about. Like James was saying, it never happened. So we moved to Zambia and our house was not done. So we started renting instead of just being in a hotel or staying in some other people's houses and stuff like that. We didn't feel comfortable doing that, so we decided that we are just going to rent a place, and that's what we did. And so we did that for 2 years while we were building, and it turned out okay because the place that we built, we kind of like, it has our touch and everything. So yeah, so that's what happened. Number 2 thing that I want to talk about is just the way people drive here. The driving. You go ahead. And
in Canada, traffic, people might complain about rush hour or something, but really, they haven't been here. The traffic that's here
is crazy.
Well, the discipline. People, when they're driving, they tend to freestyle here. They'll do just about whatever. And so the traffic can get really clogged up here, like something like you wouldn't believe. But it's not as stressful. It's kind of a paradox because being here now, we're more relaxed. We're not in a hurry. If you've got somewhere to go, usually you've got more time. It's not a rush. So the traffic just, it can be annoying sometimes, but it's not the same. And it's funny because the traffic's worse, but at the same time it's less annoying. And that's Zambia for you.
Oh yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. So it's well covered. That's exactly what I would say if I had to say something. But so it's well covered. So the third thing that I want to talk about is weather.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Again, you love talking about weather, so you can go ahead and.
All right. I'll break it down real quick. Anybody, Canada is world famous for the winter time, and maybe some people put like a positive spin on things, but for me, man, winter, like 5 months out of the year. And it's not just that it gets cold, it's that the sun goes down and it gets dark. So you've got November, December, January, February, March, and it's not just kind of snowy and cold, that it's also that the sun goes down like by supper time, it's already dark outside, and that can get kind of depressing. But here, the sun doesn't vary as much. It's usually maybe like between 6 or 7 all year round. It's just sort of the same thing. Doesn't change a lot. And the weather is kind of the same. There's no winter here. It's just, and then what is it? From about August, it's beautiful. August here is about the same as in Canada. And then September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. It's just really nice, warm, pleasant weather. It gets a little bit cool. It cools off a bit for about 3 months, say June and July in particular. And then that's it. The weather here, it's just a dream. I love it here. The weather is great.
Yeah, and the thing is, he loves it so much that most of the time when we buy his clothing, we
T-shirt and shorts.
T-shirts and shorts.
If you're Canadian, this will speak right to your soul. You can go almost 12 months a year here in T-shirt and shorts. That's the kind of weather that we have.
That's him. Like you almost never see him wearing pants.
Maybe a sweater, like June and July, I'll put on a sweater or a hoodie or something. But even in the cold season here, you can still wear shorts, especially if you're from Manitoba like me.
Yeah, and for a while there, I was like, okay, just wear pants already. And then I just transitioned to kind of, live with that, because that's, he loves the weather, he does. So the fourth thing I want to talk about is people being laid back. You go to the office and something that is supposed to be done in one day, or if matter of few hours and everything, but they tell you to come back next week or after 3 days after. And yes, so sometimes, and it's funny that coming from me, a person that was born and grew up in Zambia, but of course I went and lived somewhere else and saw how efficient they are with things, and how the things just flow. It's not perfect, but at least it flows. So I kind of like that. Personally, I like that. And I wish that, Zambians would adopt that kind of work ethics. And so when I came back to Zambia, of course that got to me.
It's broken.
There was times when I was actually, I just wanna, Another thing, in those lines, when you go to the grocery store, maybe some chain grocery stores like ShopRite or Pick and Pay, because they have designated areas where you're supposed to line up and you're supposed to queue and do that. So like jumping the line is not very common. But then when you go to just like
local,
just local grocery stores, each one for himself.
Yes.
God for us all. So you find that there's all these people. When you want to social distance, give them the next person distance so that they can do their thing. They mistake that for being weak or being slow or being...
here you go in front of me.
Yeah. So that really got to me, but we've just kind of learned to kind of live with it, because
we've adapted.
We've adapted because that's how they do things, and
the driving's kind of the same way.
And let me just give you a short story. I know I love to tell stories, but it was one of the food places called Galitos. And I went and then I was just looking at the menu, getting ready to order and everything. And then a person just came from behind and they said, okay, here, I want this and that and blah, blah. And surprisingly, the cashier went ahead and grab that money from that person instead of educating that person not to jump the line, to get back to the back of the line because I was there, I was waiting to order.
The cashier is an enabler.
Yeah. Yes, and the cashier went ahead and got that money from him. Oh my God, I just got so
Annoyed.
Yes. And I grabbed the money from and it happened so fast. I didn't plan for that to happen and everything, but I was pushed. I was annoyed. And so I got that money, I grabbed that money from the cashier, put it on the counter in where the client, the customer was standing, and I threw it in front of him, and I said, okay, now if you don't think that my money matters, I'll teach you that it does matter. Okay, so I gave her my money and I said, this is what I want to order, and they all looked at me like I was crazy. Who's this crazy lady? Who is she from? But I didn't mind because I'm hoping that they learned one or two things from there. Okay, so that was my little story.
And that's it. Now we're here.
Yeah.
And now we're used to it.
Yeah, now we're used to it. We are
Sort of.
Africans now. He's becoming African. Yeah. So I'm gonna find an African name for him. So we are good, and we are like the weather is nice and the kids are at school, and yeah, so that's how we've transitioned. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed our video, and that's it for today. That's it from us. This has been your girl Frida Tate. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Turn on that post notification button so that each time I upload a brand new video, you are notified. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah.